Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ultimate Radiation Guide. Sorry that it took so long, but there was a lot of tests that I had to do. Probably took me about 8 to 10 hours to research everything. And yeah, I don't know how many of you have looked at it, but if you go to the Geiger counter, there's a little sticker on there that says, up to 2 radiation is a happy face. Up to 8 radiation is, not terrible. And then a past 8 radiation is death, okay? Now, I'm here to tell you guys that any radiation is terrible for you if you don't have a hazmat suit on. Having a hazmat suit on is very, very, very powerful, because if you go into the power plant or the radiation zone with a hazmat and a hiking backpack, nothing will get infected. Nothing in your hiking backpack will get infected. Absolutely nothing will get infected except maybe the Geiger counter after a while that you put in your hand to check the radiation levels. But I'm here to tell you that it is not worth looting the camping site anymore, because although with a lot of effort and a lot of soap, you can probably get out of there and wash everything, the soap will make it way too expensive for the items that you get in the camping site. The C0 bunker is not too bad, okay? Washing every item in there, if you only go for the armory and hide to your loot, that's not too bad. But in my personal opinion, and if you go onto my Survival Evolved server, I've updated the radiation zone, because I literally walked in there with a Geiger counter and was just checking the levels out. For me personally, guys, after 10 hours of research, it is not worth going close to the radiation zone unless you're going there to get the uranium and the hazmat suits, okay? And later this week, I will give you a looting guide for the power plant, where I will show you all the bunkers that have that locker in them where you can get a hazmat suit. So, because you can get a hazmat suit at quite a few normal bunkers, the only reason that I would go into the power plant is for the uranium. Okay? And maybe, like even a pistol, guys. If you find a pistol, like I've researched the entire power plant, I've checked the loot spots and everything. It doesn't really matter. You have to pay $150 for the soap to clean the weapon. Maybe you can sell the weapon for $600 or something like that, if you get very lucky. But you can all the loot that you get at the power plant, you can get all across the map. The only thing that you can't get anywhere else on the map is the uranium. Okay? So, in short, there's no reason to enter the power plant unless you're going for the uranium, because everything that you pick up will be radiated. You will need to clean it. Okay? Until they give us a way where the radiation disappears off the items over time. But up until now, for the last 2 days or 3 days, I haven't seen that happen at all. I've radiated items, I've put it in a chest, waited 3 days, and the radiation is still not gone. Okay? So that is a very, very, very big thing. That you have to go into the radiation zone with a hazmat suit, and you must wash everything that you got out of the power plant before you take that hazmat suit off, because the hazmat suit acts as a protective layer for everything that you're wearing with it and all the contents inside it, like the hiking backpack and all the contents inside the hiking backpack. So, but every item that you pick up will be radiated, which you'll have to clean. So that's why I say only go into the power plant for the uranium, and understand that every uranium will take 10 soap bar uses to clean completely. And of course, if you want to get the 2 hazmat suits inside here as well, both of them will take 2 full soap bar uses as well. Okay? So if you go in here to get uranium, every uranium you pick up, you must remember it will take a bar of soap to decontaminate this uranium completely. And how much soap do I have? Because I want to take off the hazmat suit as soon as I can to play the game normally again. So if you go to the trader, buy 10 bars of soap, or how much ever. If you tell yourself, I want to get 10 uranium and I want to get 2 hazmat suits, then before you go into the power plant, buy 12 bars of soap, so that you get the 10 uraniums, you get the 2 hazmat suits, and then when you've cleared the radiation zone, which I will update with the radiation looting guide, and I've updated it on my Survival Evolved server. Once you're out of that zone completely, then you just go to the river, stand in the river with the hazmat suit, and then you wash, decontaminate all the uranium, and you wash all on the 2 hazmat suits. And then, only then, when you put the Geiger counter in your hand and turn it on, and it's at 0, then you can take off the hazmat suit and go on with your day, okay? Just have fun. Now, if you can't wait for my radiation looting guide and you want to do what I'm doing right here, there are very important points to remember for you to be able to survive this. The first point is you want to get, the closer you get to the core, okay, that exploded, the closer you get to the uranium containers, the higher the radiation will become. Like within the first 30% of the zone, like outside zone 0, closer to, okay, and you get to about 8 radiation on the Geiger counter when you get to the inside of the camping site. As soon as you're within 50 meters of this power plant, your Geiger counter will max out. It will make the loudest noise, which I'm calling on my SE server the death zone, okay? You want to be at the uranium inside the power plant for as little time as possible if you don't have a hazmat suit. If you have a hazmat suit, again, calculate the soap with the items that you want to take out of there. But after about 10 hours of tests, I worked out that the safest route to get into the power plant is from the north, okay? Because the radiation zone doesn't come directly from the center of the power plant like I thought. It just got its own zone. And the zone is at its shortest from the north, okay? So you want to run in from the snow so you pick up as little radiation as possible while you're running in here. And while you're looting this place, you want to keep an eye on your radiation presence all the time. And after 10 hours of testing, I've decided that you want to get out of Dodge as soon as you get to 30% radiation presence, okay? If you wait till you've got 35% or higher, you're not going to make it. Because as soon as you hit 40% radiation presence in this death zone at the power plant, then the ARS, okay, the acute radiation syndrome, whatever, will go into C1. But the longer it takes you to get out of the radiation zone, the faster that ARS is going to go to C2 and C3. Like, if you take too long inside here, if you wait until you've got 35% radiation resistance, you're going to have C1 ARS before you're out of this installation. And by the time you get out of the zone, you'll probably have ARS C3, which means your cells are already destroying themselves, and it will be nearly impossible for you to do your treatment before you've got ARS 4, C4, okay? Where you will die, doesn't matter what you do. That's why I say, you can do in here whatever you want, but you must make sure that you come in from the north without a hazmat suit. You want to be as quick as possible inside here, and no matter if you're struggling with lockpicking or you're not struggling with lockpicking, you want to get out of there as soon as your radiation presence passes 30%, and then you want to exit north, okay? So you want to enter from the north and you want to exit through the north. And then you want to get to the river so that you can start washing all your items or remove the items from yourself. Put your items in a chest and bury the chest or whatever. You just want to get everything that's radiated off you as soon as possible so that you can follow the steps that we're going to be seeing here. So I was at about 31% radiation, and you guys can always use this video for the fastest way in and for the fastest way out. And yeah, this is after about 3 or 4 tests. The previous test I didn't make it. Before I even got to the river at a safe place where I can wash everything and decontaminate everything, I went into the ARS 4 or C4 level. And the one thing is, if you guys are ever lucky enough to find phoenix tears in the bunkers, in the medical lockers, which is a very low percentage of finding it, but if you've got phoenix tears, then you never have to worry about radiation, because even at acute radiation syndrome C4, okay, just before you die, if you inject yourself with phoenix tears, it will take all the effects away, okay? So phoenix tears is a get out of jail free card when it comes to the power plant. But for those of us that are not lucky enough to find phoenix tears, or we don't have the skill level to find phoenix tears, there you guys can see I'm at 38% now, okay? So I was at 31% before I decided to get out of there, and now I'm at 38%. It's the radiation presence is now not climbing so fast because I'm out of the death zone. The death zone is about 50 meters right around the power plant. That is where your radiation presence is going to skyrocket. Okay, you can see now it's very, very slow. We had 31% when we started to get out of there, and then we went to 38% very, very fast. But now that we're out of that death zone, the 50 meters around the power plant, now it's not killing us at a massive rate. The radiation presence, okay, or the radiation isn't increasing at such a massive rate. That's why I'm calling it the death zone on Survival Evolved, is because when you're within 50 meters of the power plant without a hazmat suit, you are dying very, very quickly, okay? The radiation is infecting you at the max rate possible. And if you walk in there with a Geiger counter to test this out, you will see that the Geiger counter never goes into the red until you're about 50 meters away from the power plant. Then it shoots past the red into the maximum, letting you know this is the worst place you could possibly be. Without a hazmat suit. And I think that is why they put that little a little piece of paper on the original Geiger counter, which says 0 to 4 you're happy, 0 to 8 it's not too terrible, and 8 to 12 you're gonna die. They didn't really take into consideration that those notes over there is not regarding a hazmat suit. It's regarding without a hazmat suit. You are going to die if you stay, like it says there, 0 to 2 on the Giga counter is a happy face. It's a happy face if you get in and get out very, very fast. Like if you enter the radiation zone by mistake and you get out of there very quickly, then it's not the end of the world. But if you stay, like if you loot the C0 bunker, which is just inside the radiation zone, and you stay there for too long, you can die there as well. Although the radiation presence isn't going to go up fast like it would if you're in that death zone of the power plant, it's slowly but surely going to go up. And you will always get ARS C1 when it hits 40%. So it doesn't matter if you're in the weak part of the radiation zone or the strong part of the radiation zone, the rules still apply. Once the radiation presence hits 40%, the ARS activates, okay, where your cells are literally dying. Your body's eating itself because of the radiation. And that's where the problems start. That's where you start panicking. Because without the ARS activating, you can wash off a lot of the radiation presence by just swimming in the water. The reason that most of you don't know that swimming works is because sorry, I just put the sound softer here. Is because you never, most of you have never gone past 14% radiation presence, okay? And like I'm showing you guys here, it says at the radiation presence, it can be, it can be treated by sweating or peeing. Okay, now you saw there, peeing just took about a 1% away. We've got a 42% radiation presence problem, okay? Peeing took about, even if you fill your bladder up to 100%, it's going to take about 1.5 to 2% radiation presence away. The only thing that solves the problem is by putting all the loot that has been infected in a chest. Now, you don't have to build a base like I did here, okay? You just have a chest ready outside that when you exit the radiation zone, you put everything into the chest. Your guns, absolutely everything that you had on you, you put into the chest. And then you have an extra chest with clean clothing. Like the clothing that I'm wearing now, guys, isn't the clothing that I went into the zone with. It's new clothing that I had at the little base. So you can literally have a chest waiting for you outside the zone. Go to the chest, drag out your clean clothing, put all your radiated items inside the chest, and then just wear the clean clothing. And now you will see that because we went so high with the radiation presence, now you can see the effect of swimming. Okay? Standing by the fire, sitting by the fire, and sweating didn't help. Peeing didn't really help. Not in this situation. Okay? Peeing just removes about 2%. Swimming helps, saves your life when you're sitting at any acute radiation syndrome, okay? Because the ARS activates at 40% radiation presence. But if you go and swim, then if you stay in the water long enough, you will remove all the radiation presence up to 14%. So swimming helps you get your radiation presence down to 14%, where it's not that, it's not that lethal anymore. The problem is the ARS won't stop eating away at your body. You guys can see I'm getting bleeding markers, okay? My ears are bleeding, my nose is bleeding. I'm just getting bleeding markers all over the show because the ARS is killing me. The problem is the ARS takes a very, the ARS only heals itself once you get to below 14% radiation resistance. That's the only time the ARS goes into the recovery mode, is when you stay in the water long enough to wash away all the excess radiation presence. Swimming is not going to get rid of all your radiation presence. It's only going to get rid of the radiation presence that keeps feeding the ARS. Now, that's all good and well, but this is not a short process at all, guys, because the swimming got us very close to 14% radiation presence, which is good, but now it's all about patience. Like I tell you guys usually in my videos, a survival game is all about patience, but nothing in Scum has ever tested my patience like this, like with radiation. I think if I was playing on a server when I know what I know now, and somebody maybe shoots me in a radiation zone and breaks my hazmat suit, or I maybe get hit by too many puppets in the power plant and they break my hazmat suit, or they let my hazmat suit's durability go down too much, and for whatever reason, if I go above, if I get to ARS C2, I'm probably going to kill myself, guys. Not kill myself, I'll probably drown myself or jump off a high building or let a puppet kill me, because the amount of time that it takes for this to recover is quite long. Now, it tested my patience waiting like this and testing everything, as you guys can see. And some people told me, hey, maybe if you sweat the radiation out and then you go and swim, then it will remove the radiation presence fast again. And then you go sit by the fire again until you sweat, and then you go wash off the sweat in the river. No, that is not how it works. You guys will see in this video, I even jogged with Santa Claus clothing on, with the warmest clothing I could find ever, and I teleported myself to the south to like run in the desert area, the hot area, and I was sweating myself to death and nothing happened. And there again, I sat by the fire until I became very hot and sweated, and then I went back to the river to, in brackets, wash off my sweat or wash off the radiation that I sweated out, and that didn't work, okay? So, at the moment, everything isn't perfect regarding the radiation. For instance, peeing helps you in a very minor way, okay? If you just entered the radiation zone by mistake, you go out of the radiation zone, sure it will help. But if you get above 10% radiation presence, sweating is not going to help at all. If you don't go over 14%, or if you don't go over 15% radiation resistance, swimming isn't going to help. But if you hit 40% radiation resistance, okay, everything that you go over 15% on radiation presence, or from the radiation, you can wash everything off in the water when you swim in the water, because the treatment just tells you can wash it off. There's no option to wash yourself in this game, guys. So a lot of these things we have to figure out for ourselves. You can wash when to decontaminate clothing. You wash all. Okay, always go wash all. If you want to make the experience very, very tedious for yourself, then you can wash and wash and wash and wash until the radiation symbol disappears off that inventory item. But I'm telling you now, to clean uranium that you get from the power plant will take you a full bar of soap. To clean the hazmat suit that you get from there will take a full bar of soap. And if you go in there like I went in there, you have to go wash all with every single item. And you have to keep right-clicking. Right-click, decontaminate all. Right-click, wash all. So clothing, you wash it to decontaminate it. Items that you can't wash, you decontaminate all to decontaminate that, okay? I'm sure you're washing everything, but with clothing, you have to go wash all, and with other items, you have to go decontaminate all. And once you've decontaminated everything with a bunch of soap, which again is not the end of the world, because soap only costs you, a full soap bar at the trader only costs you $150. You can get it at the lady in the saloon, and it doesn't take any fame points. Okay, if it took fame points, that would have been very, very bad. But the soap doesn't take any fame points, so luckily we don't have to worry about that. So, yes, like I said, over 10 hours I tested everything, guys. Like, suggestions that you guys gave me, things that I learned over time. So I'm just peeing all the time. This is a long time, guys. Like this playing session that you're seeing here, this is the only successful one that I did. All the other tests that I did, I died, okay? Because I waited I stayed in the power plant too long. So the ARS went to C4 before I was in safety. But here, this successful attempt took me about 2 hours in total. And another very important thing is to go into the power plant, the route that I showed you, and to loot at least 10 uraniums and to get out. And to do this entire process is probably going to take you an hour to an hour and 20 minutes, which isn't that bad, but you must take that into consideration when you eat your potassium, because every potassium pill that you eat gives you about 22 minutes that the potassium is going to be in your body. It doesn't increase the strength of the potassium, but every tablet is worth 22 minutes. So because this route that I'm showing you is going to take you roughly about an hour and 20 minutes, I will not eat less than 4 potassiums before I start this journey. If you guys want to test this out, I will not go in there without eating 4 potassiums beforehand, so that I've at least got an hour, almost an hour and a half of potassium in my body, okay, to help with the radiation. And then again, I went in with the hazmat mask, or with the you could go in with a respirator or a gas mask. Okay, a gas mask will help you a little bit, and a respirator will help you a little bit. So I went in there with the hazmat mask. But if you want to go in there with nothing, no hazmat mask, nothing, it doesn't matter. As long as you get out of Dodge as soon as you hit 30% radiation. As long as you start running out of there with the exact route that I showed you, because if you take another route, it might take you longer. And I did all my tests with the specific route that I'm showing you guys in this video. You have to get out of there as soon as you hit 30% radiation presence. Otherwise, you are guaranteed to die. Okay? I couldn't have gone higher than ARS 2, guys, because just if I just wait a minute longer, then it goes C2, C3, and then C4. If you don't get out of that major radiation zone, the ARS goes C1, C2, C3. Before you know it, you're dead. Okay? And after like 2 hours of waiting, okay, I realized that I can play the game now, but I'm doing a test for you guys. So I can play the game. The ARS is going to heal, and the ARS says as soon as you've gotten rid of the radiation presence, which we got rid of, by peeing regularly, first by swimming to get it to 14%, and then by peeing regularly, drinking water regularly. The fire, sitting by the fire didn't help, sweating didn't help, swimming after we sweated didn't help. So the only thing that helped was swimming to get us back to 14.8%, and then peeing and waiting. Because as you wait, it lowers slowly but surely, and then as you pee, you increase, you increase you lower the time that it will take you to heal. So after I realized, but the ARS says when you get rid of the radiation presence, then your body will start healing itself. As you guys can see, the radiation presence is gone, but the ARS didn't speed up. The ARS still stayed at a very, very slow rate. So I just told myself, I've already waited 2 hours doing nothing. So I'm just going to show you guys with the Phoenix tears, you can get rid of anything. Okay, so even if you were at ARS C4, which is death to anyone, one Phoenix tears, as soon as you remember, you still have to be out of the radiation zone. Or if you want to be a daredevil, stay there. Keep lockpicking that uranium, and then wait until you're almost dead. Inject yourself with Phoenix tears, and then keep lockpicking, because Phoenix tears has got 3 uses. Then before you die, inject yourself again, and then get out of Dodge. And again, you're going to pick up radiation, but then when you're out of the radiation zone, then you inject yourself with the last one. Okay, so now I've healed myself, and now I'm going to show you guys that low radiation doesn't mean a thing. Low radiation is very, very easy to get rid of. Okay, so I'm going to pick up all my clothing now that's radiated. I'm going to pick up all the uranium that has been, that I threw into the chest, because first you take care of yourself, okay, which is very important. Then you take care of the loot that is contaminated. Or if you don't have even pushed my patience. If you don't have patience, then run out of the zone, drown, fall or something high, let a puppet kill you so that you can get back to the game quickly, and then go and do this, what I'm doing here. Pick up all your loot, because this isn't really going to be dangerous. Pick up your loot. You're outside of the rad zone. The only radiation that's affecting you is the radiation from your gear, okay? And the sooner you get rid of that, the better. And like I told you guys, the radiation, the hazmat, protects you from everything, okay? So although I picked up all my gear that is contaminated, and it's affecting me now, as soon as I put on the hazmat suit, my guy is protected, okay? Which is very, very important. So if you went in there to get the uranium and you got a hazmat suit like me, then if I go and bury everything that's contaminated outside the radiation zone, and I drown myself, or I let puppets kill me, or if I jump off something high, when I come back to my crate, then I'm healed, and it's just the contents of the crate that's contaminated. But if I take the hazmat suit that I found in the power plant, if I put that on first, then I'm still safe. Nothing is going to affect me with radiation, even if I've got the hiking backpack on. Which is quite weird to me, because like I said, when you run into the radiation zone with the hazmat suit and clothing and a backpack, then we can see the hiking backpack is outside of your body, okay? But when you run in there, nothing. Your hiking backpack doesn't get radiated or infected. The loot inside your hiking backpack doesn't get infected. Nothing gets infected. Okay, if you run in there with the hazmat suit, which is weird. It's like the hazmat suit is protecting all your gear, but all the stuff that you pick up in the power plant, that's of course radiated, because it came from the radiation zone. So there's nothing you can do about that. What makes that great is if you go in there with a hazmat suit, and then when you come out, like I said, you only have to wash what you got in there. And that's why I say I will never loot anything else other than uranium and a hazmat suit out of that place, because using soap for common items that I can get anywhere else on the island is just a major waste of time. Okay, and now I'm showing you guys this. If you never knew this, you can wash the uranium, and keep it safe at your base or go sell it. Now I'm showing you, if you wash all of them once, it doesn't help, okay, because look there, it's still radiated. Okay, so the uranium takes 10 soap uses to wash completely, and depending on how much radiation your clothing picked up, that will also depend, okay? But you'll never waste soap if you say wash all. I thought to myself, I don't want to wash all because maybe it uses all 10 uses when it doesn't need to use all 10 uses, and that's why I'm showing you guys the video now. I'm washing it one at a time, because I don't want to use my entire soap bar. Even though I spawned in the soap, it doesn't matter. I'm putting myself into the situation for real. So then every time I wash it, I can see now it's clean, okay? But every time I washed it, I saw how much radiation one soap use removed. But that differs. You see, their radiation is 0.2. So the radiation that you get rid of with one soap use on clothing is different than one soap use on the uranium bars or everything else. So my biggest tip to you is just wash all, to save yourself a heck of a lot of time. Okay, and then when you've washed everything and there's nothing left with a radiation symbol on, then you can relax again. Just understand that hazmat suit equals no radiation. Okay, in any circumstance, unless your hazmat suit is damaged. If the durability goes under 80%, then you will pick up radiation through the hazmat suit. So it stops protecting you at 80%, and then it leaks radiation in a major way when it goes below 30%. So if you're not someone that thinks if you're someone that gets hit by puppets regularly, I would say go in there with at least 3 or 4 or 5 duct tape uses, so that if you get hit, you can make sure that hazmat suit stays above 80% to protect you completely, okay? And all I'm basically doing now is washing all. It takes a bit of time, but usually you get about, on a full server, not on a full server, on a high populated server, you get about $3,100. They did lower it, which is nice. I thought they had to lower the uranium price, which was at 6,000 before the latest hotfix, because you could get a lot of it in the power plant, and it was selling for 6,000 each, which I thought was a bit overpowered. So then I thought to myself, I think they need to lower the spawn points, the spawns of the uranium, or they need to lower the price. And so they did, okay? it's still very lucrative, but it's not, it's not as broken as it was. But I mean, 3,000 per uranium is still a good price. So spending $150 to be able to sell uranium for $3,100, that's a good investment, okay? Or if you've got a car and you don't want to wash anything, you can just go over there, sell absolutely everything, and then fix yourself in the ways that I've showed you here, okay? It's all up to you. The C2 trader is not that far away. So you can do it like this, but if you think stuff that I'm not doing this on a populated server, I'm probably going to get killed and lose everything, fine. Get into your... Then make sure you get the hazmat suit before you enter the power station so you're not worried about radiation. And then pick up the uranium, okay? And don't take off your hazmat suit until you get to the trader. Sell the uranium. And the thing is, you can sell the uranium and get rid of all the radiation. But if you picked up the hazmat suits inside there as well, you're going to have to sell the hazmat suits as well, okay? So if you don't want to do any of this, then you have to run in there with the hazmat suit. And in my radiation guide, my power plant looting guide, I will show you the most effective and fastest way to do that without fearing radiation at all. And then you just, take your car and you speed to the C2 trader to get rid of everything. So then you're going to sell everything. All the uranium you found there, all the hazmat suits you found there. If the trader hasn't got enough funds, then you're sitting with a problem. But then you can go, okay, I'm in the trader zone. I am safe. Now I'm going to buy soap at the trader and go to the water that is at every single trader. There is water at every single trader. And then I'm going to wash the uranium and the hazmat suits or whatever the trader didn't have enough money for me to sell. Now I'm going to wash all of the things with radiation on so that I can finally take off this hazmat suit and play the game normally. Okay? Those are your options. So as you guys can see, the gay account is very, very important. Like you can see, even the weapons get infected. Although you don't have to worry about the attachments. I took the attachments off for you guys to see if attachments gets radiated separately. No, it's just the weapon that gets radiated. But once you put that gay account in your hand, you have to look at everything. Your weapons, your clothing, your items, the gay counter itself, okay? You have to look at everything to make sure that there's no more radiation everywhere. And it's going to take a lot of soap. But like I say, when you do it at the trader, it's a heck of a lot safer. Okay? So it's not a bad idea. But if you do it like me, you will not make it to the trader. You cannot run in there, wait until you're at 30% radiation resistance, run out because Luthais did it, and then instead of doing this patience mission here by the river, you say stuff that I'm just going to go to the C2 trader, you're going to have to find a spot somewhere to stop the radiation from increasing. Okay, so you're going to have to swim somewhere. If it's not in this river, then choose the little dragon dam above the power plant, or you're going to have to swim somewhere to get rid of all the radiation presence up to 14.8%. Because if you don't get your radiation presence down to 14.8%, which you can only do with swimming at the moment, then your ARS is going to keep on increasing. And if you don't get to the trader before your ARS gets into C4, which happens quite fast, then you're not going to make it in any case. So yes, guys, there are various ways to do this. Definitely a lot of ways to do this. But like I say, this definitely tested my patience. But for me, I have to understand something completely to be able to teach anyone anything about it. Okay? So I put in the hours, but after 10 or 12 hours, and I'm just talking about this weekend, I'm not including all the other research that I did on stream or in my spare time or something like this. This was 10 to 12 hours of dedication this specific weekend to try and figure out everything. And, the fact that they say sweating helps, and I tried every single sweating in the book. I tried run sweating, fire sweating, hazmat suit sweating, every kind of way I could have sweated didn't help me. And the peeing just helps you get rid of that radiation presence, but that's only after you've solved the radiation presence. That's only after you've gotten rid of all the infected gear and you're protecting yourself with the hazmat suit while you're cleaning the infected gear. Because if you do not clean the infected gear and you ignore the infected gear, then your radiation presence is going to climb faster than what you can ever pee in your life. Okay? You'll never be able to pee to stay alive. It will always increase because the uranium that you've got on you that hasn't been decontaminated and the gear that you have on you that hasn't been contaminated yet is literally killing you. You don't even have to be in the radiation zone. You are dying from radiation because of your items or the uranium or your clothing, whatever the case may be. So, in short, you have to enter the radiation zone if you're going to do it without a hazmat suit. Where in my next power plant looting guide, I'm going to tell you to use the hazmat suit. I'm going to show you I'm going to show you all the bunkers where you can get a hazmat suit. And I'm going to force you or tell you, do not do this without a hazmat suit. Because it's uncontrolled, it's messy. And if everything worked perfectly, like if I could swim to get my radiation presence to 14%, and then I could run, get my heart rate up, or sweat, or sit by a fire to get my radiation presence even lower, and then at 5% I could pee, to get rid of the last little bit. And as soon as I got rid of the radiation presence, then instead of my ARS C2 healing itself, 5 minutes, like the slowest that is a patient's test on its own. Because I was looking at that radiation presence and the ARS, and when I looked at the ARS, it said as soon as you've got rid of the radiation presence, then your body will start repairing itself. So, although it took me a lifetime to get rid of the radiation presence, not a lifetime, hour and a half, I looked at the ARS recovery and I'm like, this is going to take forever, man.
Registered.
It's going down 0.01% every 1 or 5 minutes, every 5 minutes, And I'm like, this is going to take hours. And then all my hope was on that radiation presence. I kept telling myself, the notes say when you hover over ARS, the notes say as soon as you've got rid of the radiation presence, the acute radiation syndrome will start repairing. Your body will start healing itself. And I was just waiting for that. And as soon as the radiation presence went away, I kept my mouse over the ARS status. And nothing sped up. Nothing got faster. That's why after 2 hours of sitting at that river doing nothing, I just decided, stuff this. I'm going to inject myself with Phoenix Tears and just get on with the guide. I knew it would go away after a few hours, but I mean, that's not helping me explain to you guys how things work. And as I say, things do not work perfectly because at the trader, I washed everything completely, but I was still getting radiation. And some of you guys will experience this problem as well. Even after you've cleaned all your items, you still can't get rid of the radiation presence there. Okay? And that's because it's a little bit buggy. Okay? You guys will see what I mean by that in this clip over here. I cleaned everything. I think it was my jacket that still had radiation on it. My Negan jacket still had radiation on it. So I went back to the water and I made sure that everything was sparkling clean. I took off the attachments off my gun. I did a clean sweep. Made sure I decontaminated everything and washed everything so there's no radiation left. And then you will see at the end of the clip, I just run into the trader path, the mud trail, and I threw I'm going to throw my bulletproof vest on the road. Then I'm going to run away from that, put that piece of clothing there, run away, put that clothing there. So you guys will see that I just spread out my clothing on the ground to try and figure out what exactly is giving me radiation that is not showing me any radiation. And as you will see at the end of this clip at the trader, I didn't even get the answer to that. Because as soon as I threw my items onto the muddy path all over the show, as soon as I picked it up, all the radiation was gone. So either that's a bug, or some of you with creative minds are going to tell me that because I threw all the items and the clothing in the mud, which is water, it washed off the last little bit of radiation that neither the Geiger counter or me could detect. Okay, which is a bit, that's a bit of hopeful thinking. It will be, it will be nice if I figured, if I dropped my stuff into muddy water, by mistake. But I have heard of many people that have washed all their items and they still can't get rid of it. So my only solution up until this point is just throw it everywhere. Throw it on the snow, throw it on this mud, on the mud road. Get it, just leave it on the ground for a second. So if I have to use this as an indication how to get rid of radiation that you can't detect. Now there you guys can see the Negan jacket. I'm going to wash the Negan jacket, so don't worry about that. But guys will see now at the end. If my guide is how to get rid of radiation that the Geiger counter cannot detect anymore, and according to you, you are sparkling clean, my guide will be to go to the trader, throw every item, or be in the snow or be at your base, throw every item on the ground, make sure they're far away from each other, wait a minute, and then go pick them up. And then voila, miracle, no more radiation. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is that they say sweating helps. Sweating doesn't help. The Geiger counter tells you everything's clean, but everything's not clean. And then you have to throw the items in the mud and, then it goes away. And then you think to yourself, oh, it's because I threw it in muddy water. So that little bit of water. No, why didn't it take it off when you were swimming in the river? Why did the little muddy water in the trader remove the radiation that you or your Geiger counter couldn't detect? You were swimming in the river. Why didn't that remove the last of it? Like you washed everything in the river and then you swam in the river again. You are standing in the freezing water. Why didn't that get rid of everything? So what I'm trying to tell you is it's not perfect yet. But again, like always, we are going to use this ultimate radiation guide so that when they update it, when you guys discover that, like, after a few updates, hey, now I can sweat and get rid of my radiation, okay? Now peeing does help me, or now this thing works for me. Please come back to this video and leave it down in the comments below so that we can help each other as a community always, and I can just get you guys off the starting blocks like I always do. Okay. And I mean, this wasn't a quick test, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, it's very difficult to test my patience, but this definitely did. Okay. So everything is clean now. Okay. There's no radiation anywhere, but I've still got radiation present. So I'm leaving my hiking backpack down there in the road. Okay. Now I just decide, okay, let's leave the helmet here. Okay. Walking away, still radiation presence. Okay. So it's not the helmet. Okay, it's not the helmet. So let's try the bulletproof vest. Is the bulletproof vest? Nope. Does look like it's the bulletproof vest. Okay, maybe it's, because I've cleaned everything. I've decontaminated everything. I've washed everything. There it just disappears on its own. Okay. It didn't disappear when I walked away from the bulletproof vest. It just disappeared on its own. Now I'm like, okay, so it's the bulletproof. The bulletproof has got the radiation resistance. Although I can't detect it, no. Okay? No, it wasn't the bulletproof. So what I'm trying to tell you guys in short, there are still a few bugs. Okay? You guys can use this method. It's a crazy man method, but you guys know me. I'm crazy when it comes to testing things. Just understand that there are a few bugs. Throw the stuff around, try different things, ignore it, do whatever you want. But my end message to you is do not go into the radiation zone without a hazmat. It's as simple as that. After 12 hours of experimentation, this is not worth it by any means. Okay, I don't care if you have to pay someone to open up that silver locker at a bunker to get a hazmat suit. Do not go in here. Do not go to the power plant without a hazmat suit. And if you go to the power plant, only loot uranium and only loot hazmat suit, extra hazmat suits if you want. Do not take anything out of the power plant except hazmat suits and uranium. So guys, if you found this helpful, do me a favor and click that like button. I know it's a long video, but we will add down in the comments as the updates comes by. And just as an extra bonus, I did test it for you guys, and the catacombs are as dead as the sound is on this part. They have removed the zombie suit, but I am going to poop them out tomorrow about various things. So if you want to see and learn everything there is to see and learn about Scum, hit that subscribe button and that like button, and see you guys next time. Cheers.